We are recording.
All right, everybody ready? Let's get the show on the road. It is 6 o'clock. The German in me says we need to be on time. All right, this is the Suamico Village Board meeting for Monday, November 11th, 2024. At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order and look for a motion to approve the evening's agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion from trustee Romas to approve the evening's agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Andrews. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And those opposed? Motion carries. We are 5 this evening. Let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, so that being said, we are moving down to item number 4. Item number 4 this evening is public appearances. Anybody in the audience who wishes to come forward and speak to an item not on the agenda, now is your opportunity. Please provide your name and address and let us know what's on your mind. Anybody in the audience wishing to come forward to speak to something not on the agenda? I hear nothing.
I got an email from one of the poll workers, and she said there was obviously a problem with the election the first few days on the state level. And she said that Michelle, Holly, and Deanna did a really good job. A lot of grace under pressure, and
Thank you.
Good.
All right, very nice.
I second that.
I did not get any comments, so I thank you for that as well. All right, moving on, item number 5, public hearing. This evening, we have item 5A, which is a public hearing for the 2025 Village of Suamico proposed budget. And we get to hear in the inaugural appearance, Finance Director Demony.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so to start right away, the levy presented in the 2025 budget is $6,018,607, which is an increase of $194,000 or 3.33 from the current levy year. The proposed mill rate is 3.967 per thousand, which is an increase of 9.54 cents or 2.47%. What that equates to is approximately a $26.50 increase on a median value property in the village, or $4.77 increase for every $50,000 of property value. So of the $6 million levy, 59% goes towards operations, 24% goes towards capital, and 17% goes towards debt service. If we compare it to the 2024 budget, the operational levy increases about $146,000. The capital levy increases about $351,000, and the debt service levy is an actual decrease of $303,000.
Sorry, give me those numbers, those last two. The decrease in the debt levy was $303,000.
Yep, and the capital increased $351,000.
Okay.
For this year, there was a drop for debt service for 1 year, which we're using in the capital side for the Lineville project. For the assessed value, the increase of $17,563,400 or 1.08 does look low compared to prior years. However, the state removed personal property from the assessed value, which, had previously been included in there. So it skews the change from year to year. On to some highlights of change for revenues. The graph shows the increase in the state shared revenue that started last year with the 2024 budget. This year going up about $8,500. Transportation aids, this amount increased about $53,000. It does fluctuate each year, as it's part of a 6-year average in specific costs reported annually to the state, such as a certain percentage of law enforcement expenses, local highway and street maintenance, and also local highway and street outlay. So depending on what took place in the 6 years, that can change what's received. The increase in intergovernmental revenues, it does include that increase in transportation aids, but also the smaller increases to the state shared revenue, fire dues, and the 2023 Act 12 personal property aid. The decrease in licenses and permits is driven by the decrease in the TDS permitting. Onto the operating expenses. You'll see the overall change from prior year is $375,475. One thing to note about this value, it does include other financing uses or transfers to other funds, such as the transfer to debt service using the debt stabilization fund. The increase also includes the expense of the village revaluation, which is offset on the revenue side by the use of the revaluation sinking fund. Some highlights of the change from the previous slide. The law enforcement contract that was just renewed resulted in an increase of about $75,000. With 2025 comes only 2 elections versus 4, so the election part-time wages decreased about $11,500. The village is in need of a revaluation as previously approved at a board meeting, which totals about $92,000. In this budget is the shift of 1 part-time firefighter to a full-time position, which nets to an increase of about $56,000. And there was an approved 3.5% base wage adjustment for staff, totaling an approximate $50,000. Some major capital projects for 2025 are listed here. The biggest one being the Lineville project, noted at the bottom, which is financed from a couple different sources. Capital levy is noted when we talked about the decrease with the debt service. So capital levy, some TID number $4, some from road reconstruction, and a debt issue will be taken out in the beginning of 2025. The 2025 planned road reconstruction is approximately $40,000 higher than 2024, with the expenditures at $1,059,000. The equipment noted on this slide is purchased through the use of the equipment replacement reserve funds. So that's the fund, approximately $185,000 of levy is applied there for 2025. The debt service fund, the graph shows debt service as a percent of the levy, and so you can see the mainly continual decrease. 2025, you can see where that levy reduction is for debt, which was mentioned earlier in the capital took kind of that decrease. The same thing was done in 2020 to reduce borrowing for the fire station, as you can see in the graph. As we move to 26, it'll include payments that are starting for the Lineville project, which brings it back up to, I guess, comparable to prior year. Moving on to the tax incremental districts. TID 1 has an expenditure period ending January 1st of 26. A change in this fund is the state aids increased about $36,000 due to the removal of personal property from the taxes. 2025 is the last year on one of the transfers to debt service. So although we see a loss in 2025, future years will show income of approximately $210,000 each year. We will continue to have a transfer to debt service through the TIDS closure in 2030 for the East Deerfield sewer extension. To TID number 2, this has a maximum date to remain open of August 21st of 2026. The state aids in this TID increased approximately $18,000. again, due to the removal of personal property. We're currently looking at closing this TID in '25, looking at what impacts it'll have for the levy, overall financial impact. Also looking at, there is one debt payment remaining in '26, but looking at how that looks if we pay that early to close this TID early. TID number 4, the urban edge area. This has an expenditure period open through May 19 of 2029. Currently in '24 and a little bit of 2025, we're using fund balance or cash funds as support for the County Highway M Lineville project. In future years, TID 4 will contribute towards the debt payments that are associated with the Lineville project borrowing. The debt payment would start in '26, estimated around $150,000 to start, but could incrementally increase based on, once the project is financed and based on reevaluation and the availability of TID funds. The TID is projected to have a negative fund balance through about 2030, but positive from 2031 through the end of the life of the TID. The next one is the Wetland Mitigation Fund. This one, we budgeted $200,000 for credit sales. However, that can change based on the amount of construction that is completed. It is estimated on here that the fund will have a negative fund balance. But again, that can change depending on the construction and the credit sales that occur during the year.
Are you talking about ending net position at the end of this year? Or at the end of the project?
That'd be for '25.
That would be for the end of '25.
Right, okay.
Onto garbage and recycling, one of the village's proprietary funds. The 2025 budget holds the collection fee at $190 per year, the same as 2024. We continue to transfer funds to the road reconstruction fund. This fund is estimated just to have a small loss at the end of '25 of about $2,000. Last is the stormwater fund. The 2025 budget holds the REU fee at $40 per REU, so the same as 2024. You can see we budgeted for a grant of $112,000 to help offset the Sunset Beach culvert replacement. The transfer to the stormwater sinking fund increased from $25,000 in 2024 to $40,000 in 2025. It does appear on here there's a large loss estimated in 2025. However, this is due to using the Monsanto settlement funds that were received in a prior year and held in fund balance. And that ends my presentation. The fee schedule was included in your packet for tonight. There were no changes to the fee schedule from what was presented at the budget workshop day.
I saw on page 7, the thing that Public Works just voted on. I believe that's in there, right? The late fee for the permits?
No, that's not been updated just yet.
Oh, okay, but so that's not supposed to go in?
No, we'll do that after we didn't bring it to the board yet,
Oh, okay,
so we'll run it through the board before that.
And
okay.
we can update the fee schedule at any board meeting. in the
Yep.
Okay.
And Minister Kager, can you, or Finance Director, could you remind me, what are the potential wetland mitigation credits that we're looking at for 2025?
Just depends on how the hydrology testing comes back. We'll determine the amount of credits that we can get. The max amount of credits that we can get in '25 looks to be about 30% of the total release, so up to 15 credits if everything goes perfect, which I doubt.
Right.
But I'm hoping for at least 5. But
So-
again, that goes back to how the hydrology is doing.
Okay.
And you can sell each credit for about $145,000.
Right, so that's, when I'm looking at that ending balance of 131,000, I guess I don't want to see that be a weight that we have to continue to support, and it doesn't, until we get to a point where We have existing credits that we haven't sold. We're not there yet, but we have that potential resource coming. Okay, thank you. Other questions?
The street sweeper.
I'm gonna give you a ride now. You're the first person.
So approving this budget does not mean we approve that street sweeper. It just
Correct.
means it's part of it. Clear, okay. Now, if you made it a street sweeper leaf sucker,
There we go.
then you'll appease like everybody in the
Uh-huh.
village. Because the people on the gravel roads will not have gravel on their road. And the people that don't have anything to do with their leaves will have something to do with their leaves. And everyone becomes happy.
People on the gravel roads, there's not many.
That's what the street sweeper's for, right?
The
Keep the
streets,
gravel out of the storm drain, the ditches and stuff.
any debris, sediment, all material that you find in curb and gutter.
Salt, sand, when you salt and sand the roads, things like that. You'll be driving that street sweeper down gravel roads?
No.
And not gravel roads, but roads with a gravel shoulder?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can sweep shoulder.
Because it would be
roads.
sort of silly to take it down a gravel road.
Right.
I didn't mean it that way. Okay.
If I may, we've also used Brown County, their street sweeper. It takes a long time though, but for accidents as well, so.
Oh, just kind of go there and sweep up the
Yeah.
glass and stuff.
Car parts. Deer hair.
Um, I think, it is, what's going to come down to me is really just a justification of cost, because that's a lot of money.
It is. No, I definitely.
But it may
agree.
work out. I mean, you may show me that, we save this much money over a certain number of years by not having to dredge out our storm drains and et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, that's the only clarification I needed. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else, questions? Comments? Anything? Anything else from administration?
So logistically, your next step would be to open the public hearing for public comment. You do not need a vote. You, as the president, can make that determination, and then after there is public comment, you can close the public hearing, and we move on to number 6.
Well, this should be quick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this up for public comment. Anyone? Okay, no one, so I'm closing this to public comment.
Hearing, yes.
Hearing. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll look for a motion. I can offer a motion, I guess, if there is nothing else from my fellow trustees. I would offer a motion to approve Resolution 24013 to approve the 2025 budget and the 2026-2029 budgets as a guide, and the 2025 fee schedule is presented, reserving the sewer utilities right to change their 2025 fees effective 1/1/2025 after their 2025 budget is adopted. I'm glad I rehearsed that. Anyone else?
I'll second.
And we have a second from trustee Romas. Any other further comments or questions? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Gomez.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery. Aye. President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
All right, thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion from trustee Andrews to adjourn this evening's meeting and a second from trustee Eckert. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
You crushed it.
See you next week.
Who are you?
Yeah. You want me to sign that one?
So the last 2 budget years, we've had 2 different finance.
See you Monday.
One took an hour and one
See you Monday.
And Monday.
Yes.
That's what we like.
She used dashboard stuff.
We,
She used dashboard stuff.
Did you like
This- Oh, of course I did.
That's it, right? Thank you.
The
All
only
right.
thing I would add to that whole thing, and you kind of did later on, is in the pie chart of what the increase was, I would put like a huge underscore that I went to the fire department again.
oh,
I really,
Please.
I gotta go. Time's up.
Fire.
Remember, Kate, that's.
I really appreciated the slide presentation. I thought that was very visual.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Take me out. Take me out. To his street sweeper.
Yeah. Sure.
You get it?
Yeah.
Take me out your street sweeper to his
I mean, it could be a phone call, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Sure, go ahead, send me an email with. Now that I got through tonight, I think we're okay.
Okay, I'll email you tomorrow then.
Okay.